Yo, what is going on?
Not much, man. Get ready for this view of a card.
Yeah, dude, we got to talk about our boy Jarzinho, though, first, before we get into this card. How did you feel watching him fraud check the fuck out of that fat Russian?
Well, we kind of knew going into it that if he could weather that early storm, he'd be okay. I mean, the guy was fighting on the prelims, had one UFC fight, and now he's going into a 5 round fight. I mean, that's a recipe for disaster. And Biggie Boys lost to guys that are veterans. You know what I mean? Um, it's kind of one of those things where you kind of knew it was going to happen. I didn't think Gazee was going to look that bad, though. To be honest with you,
Yeah, dude, he looked awful. It reminded me exactly of um, Sean Strickland versus Abus Magomedov. It reminded me just like that, where it was, like a prospect, really, really good looking in their first UFC fight, and then they just give them this massive step up in a 5 round fight for no reason. They come out, have one round of decent work, and then just gas. So I was pretty psyched though. We nailed that one. And this
yeah.
is
I mean, we grabbed him live. I know. I was talking with you. You grabbed him at what +200. You got some more of them, and then
yes, sir.
um, I was able to. I waited and was hoping it could get dragged out a little bit longer. But I was still able to get it at +100 live, so it worked out. I was getting a little greedy trying to get that 250, 300, but it is what it is.
Yeah, dude, it worked out perfectly. I was gonna say this. I have a hot take about this 299 card that we got to talk about before we jump into the fights. I think personally that if you bet the same amount of money on every single underdog on this card, I think you're gonna end up on top by the end. And that doesn't happen very often. Usually, you get those cards where like two underdogs win or like three underdogs win. Dude, I think this is like filled with underdogs who could absolutely tear apart their favorite counterpart. What are your thoughts? You think that there's like at least a few that can win here, or you think it's going to be one of those favorite heavy cards?
No, I mean the star power alone. I think we could get a little caught up on some names, um, but there are definitely some live dogs. Like I said, we might get caught up on names and status and stuff like that. But I'm looking forward to a bunch of these fights, man. This card is really really good.
Yeah, dude. Best fight of the entire card. We're starting off with Marina Moroz versus Joanne Wood. I know you're psyched about this one, Tim. So kick us off with the best fight of the card.
All right, so obviously I'm not betting this one. You have an aging out Joanne Wood, formerly Calderwood. She's 2-5 in her last two wins in her last five fights. 38 years old, wrong side of father time, going up against Moroz, who dropped her last two out of five. Um, I really have no interest in this. This will be kind of, get these first couple maybe out of the way. Um, Actually, just this one for the most part. But I don't think I really it doesn't make a difference to me. I think this is probably Joanne Wood's last fight, especially if she loses. Um, I really don't know, and it could go either way. I'm not touching this one.
Yeah, dude. I was obviously just being an asshole when I said best fight of the card. I don't know. This is one of those where it's who the fuck knows who's gonna win. I would probably just side with Moroz because she's younger, and Joanne Wood is end of her career, like you said. But Again, I have no real lean on this. Maybe Munhoz can get a takedown and fish another sub. Um, I don't know, man. This is one of those. It's women's MMA where it's two fighters that are middling. One near the end of her career, one without any show stopping abilities. So I'll go Munhoz here, and we're gonna be doing the whole put your picks in while we do this. So I'll choose Munhoz. I'll just put decision for now because I really have no idea how this fight's gonna go if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah.
All right.
So now we start to pick it up a little bit. CJ Vergara and Asu Almabayev. This should be a really good fight. MMA math, we have it should be Asu should get the win here. He is a heavy favorite. His most recent was a sub over Odie, who CJ has a loss to. But CJ is on quite a nice little run here. He's got a win over Salvador. He's got a knockout over La Sereda. He dropped it on the Tatsuro Taira, but we know who he is and what he's all about. And then he's got a split decision win over Kletson Rodriguez. I think he is a live dog as well. But going up against Asu, who's just kind of been on a tear. So it wouldn't surprise me if this one maybe goes down to the ground and Asu gets a sub, or maybe a knockout. But he's a smaller guy. But I think he could get it done, especially those Kazakhstan fighters. Man, they're no joke. They train incredibly hard, but I'm gonna have to go with Almabayev by sub. But I also like him money line.
Yeah, dude, we're seeing kind of I don't know if it's a rise, whatever it is, in Kazakhstan fighters, and especially kind of in the lower weight classes. These are dudes who they resemble kind of that Dagestan style, that Malzvar Evloev style, high pace grapplers with a lot of upside when it comes to getting you on your back and then submitting you. And they also have that fucking dog in them. Like they just seem to have that beat the fuck out of you and then continue beating the fuck out of you mindset. So I'm going to go with Almabayev here. I think he subs him. Vergara, like you said, it's another one of those situations where the number is real big next to Vergara and it's tempting to take a little shot on it. Because on DraftKings, he's plus 425 and you think, okay, well, if Almabayev is not a top 10 guy, maybe he's a top 20 guy, but not a top 10 guy. Could Vergara push him to those limits? He could. But I just trust Almabayev to get him to the mat, choke him out, do something nasty while Vergara's on his back. I won't touch that minus 600 price on Almabayev at all. Not interested in that at all. But if, a crazy subline comes out, if he's plus something for sub, maybe I'd debate it. But this is also one of those where I'm going to watch and I'm going to kind of gather information on Almabayev a lot here. I've already seen him fight a few times, watched some tape on him from before the UFC. Decent fighter. Dude is pretty good. But this will be a nice test just to see him get another 3 rounds in against a guy who we've seen win fights in the UFC. So Almabayev by sub. I'm gonna go second round just for the sake of this thing. But yeah, I wouldn't surprise me to see Vergara look a little better than the price indicates here, though.
Yeah.
Okay, this is an interesting one coming up next. It's pretty polarizing when it comes to people who have been talking about this fight that I've seen. It's Robelis. Oh man, I'm gonna butcher this. Robelis Despain. I'm just gonna call him Robelis Despain versus Josh Parisian, and we have Tim, maybe the biggest specimen of all time making their heavyweight debut. This is like Francis Ngannou if Ngannou was 3 inches taller and had 3 extra inches on his reach. This guy's an absolute fucking athletic freak. And that should be enough to get it done against Josh Parisian, if we're being honest here. I mean, what do you think?
I'm not sure. As much as I'll probably sprinkle the big boy by knockout, but I will go super light, probably first round knockout. If you look at his fights, it's honestly, I'm probably not going to take it because it's probably going to be so juiced. You'd have to do under half a round. He's 4-0, right? But in the 4 fights he's had, everybody else was making their debut. So he's fought one guy that had a winning record, and he was 1-0. The other 3 were 0-0. So I get it. You know what I mean? He's a freak of nature, 87-inch reach, which is unheard of. But it's a lot different. You know what I mean? Josh Parisian, as much as he's been turning into a pumpkin, he's been in there. He can fight. He's not one of these guys that is just gonna roll over and get stopped. I mean, he could, but you gotta understand he's got his last time he's been knocked out was against Almeida back 2 years ago, and that was only because he got put into a crucifix, which is impossible for some of these bigger guys to get out of, and it's just a terrible position to be in the first place. Yeah. But other than that, I mean, he lost a decision to Jamal Post, who's nothing special, but then Martin Budai, he got put in a Kimura. So this is going to be a true test. I think some people could get burned on that first round knockout. We'll see. Like I said, his record is not anything to, it's nice. He's 4-0 undefeated. But like I said,
they're cans, dude.
That's 0-0. They're not even proven cans. They're 0-0, 0-0, 0-0, and he fought one that was 1-0 and he lost. But he's never been out of the first round. Hell, he's only been out of 30 seconds once, I think. So it's gonna be very interesting to see what happens. I don't know what kind of gas tank he's got. When you're 6'7", you know what I mean, and you're maxing out, I mean, he's gonna be carrying, and it's all muscle. So I'm curious to see how he does. If he even gets to the second round, then I'll probably fade him. If this goes into the second round, I will fade him.
Yeah, man, I've been debating a Parisian bet all week, just because. What if he gets a takedown? That's my biggest question here. Is what if he just gets one fucking fat man doughboy single leg, or he catches Robelis off balance, gets a double leg, and Robelis ends up on his back. I don't know if he can get up. He's 4-0. He's fought, the equivalent of the grocery boy down the fucking street. Maybe even the grocery boy's obese uncle. I mean, if you go back and watch those fights, it literally looks like I was out there fighting MMA against a 6'7", 264-pound guy with an 87-inch reach. Those guys didn't know what they were doing. They were 0-0. They didn't know what they were doing. Nothing against them. They went out there and competed. So, dope on you. But that's not Josh Parisian. Josh Parisian is 15-7. Josh Parisian has been in the UFC. Josh Parisian is a UFC fighter. I feel like he gets one takedown, Tim. He could do, a couple different things. He could just finish Robelis because Robelis doesn't have a ground game, or he could tire Robelis out to the point where Robelis, when he gets back on his feet, does not have the steam in his hands to finish the fight like we've seen him in those 20-second, 10-second, 5-second fights. So for me, the plus 260, plus 270 on Josh Parisian, that's probably going to get at least a few bucks of my money on there. Just because, man, I feel like he's live here. We want to, like, jump on this Robelis guy, the MMA community, because of his 6'7", 87-inch reach. He's not proven. Once he's proven, then I'll quit fading him, or, then I'll start to believe in him. He's also 35.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like a little bit of money on Parisian here. If it loses, it loses. It's one of those where we don't know anything about this Robelis guy. We know what we're getting with Josh Parisian. He's a fucking, pudgy dude. He's a pudgy IT guy, sort of a deal. But he can also fight. He also has hands and would kick the shit out of the average civilian. So Josh Parisian, I think I'll have a little bit of money on him. I honestly think he could, get it to the ground and ground and pound this guy. I know that sounds crazy, but I think he could do it. And I really don't think it would take that long. First round, second round, I could see it happening because this Robelis guy, if he's fraud, he's going to get fraud checked hard. And it's going to be quick, and it's going to look really bad, too. That's the big thing, is it is going to look really bad. That's my breakdown there.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%.
Okay. What do we got next here? Ooh, this is a rebooking.
So, and I think it was, so we got Lins versus Cutelaba. I don't remember. Was it Lins that pulled out?
Yeah, he got sick, I think. I think he got sick. The week of or something, like food poisoning or something like that.
Yeah. All right, so we have Felipe Lins versus Ion Cutelaba. I'm pretty sure I was on Lins last time. And I think I'm going to stick with that just for the simple fact that Cutelaba's been having a rough time. And Lins has been turning it around. Granted, he's had softer matchups. But the win over Prakniau, I liked. OSP, I mean, he's kind of dust now. And Christian, I mean, that was a decent win for him. But I mean, Cutelaba's got a knockout ground and pound win over Tanner Boser. But then he's lost Kennedy and Njoku, knocked him out. Johnny Walker subbed him. Ryan Spann subbed him. So, I mean, I'm going to go with Lins. I'm going to keep it short and sweet here. Because I'm looking forward to getting to the real cream of the crop coming up. But I'm just gonna go with Lins. It wouldn't surprise me if it's a decision win.
Yeah, I was on Cutelaba last time we talked about this. I've not really changed my tune, but I'm much less confident now. I've watched Cutelaba's last 5 fights probably like 3 times in the past 6 months because, first off, I'm kind of a Cutelaba fan. I think the dude is an athletic specimen. Like, if we're talking a human pit bull, we're talking Ion Cutelaba. Like, the guy, he can wing punches that would probably take out a giraffe. He's insane. Dude is fucking crazy. Very obvious that he's got a little secret juice being put in his left and right cheek maybe every once in a while. But he's insane. Guy is crazy. He has the crazy mindset where he yells in people's faces. I don't know what it is, but some of these guys, it's the roid rage, cough, cough. But he gets in people's faces and he does the whole thing like at the weigh-ins. He's just a crazy dude. And he backs it up with his athleticism. The guy is like a specimen. He gets in there, and if he lands a clean hook to your jaw, I mean, you're not going to wake up for probably 20, 30 seconds. You're taking a little space nap where you're thinking about daisies and the World Cup in 1987. I don't know what the fuck Felipe Lins would be thinking about, but that's kind of the guy that Cutelaba is. He's either going to sleep you in the first or he's probably going to get tired and he's going to lose in the second, third, or decision. That's kind of just how he works. And I'm starting to think Felipe Lins might be able to do that to him. I'm starting to think Felipe Lins a little too technical. He's a little bit, smart with his hands. As long as he doesn't get caught in the first, which it's very live to happen because it's Cutelaba. He could probably catch anybody in the world in that first round. But as long as Lins stays calm, composed, and smart in that first, Cutelaba's going to tire himself out. Cutelaba's probably going to stagger around a little bit in the second, third, maybe even survive. But I think Lins probably extends this and gets it done. But I agree with you. It's kind of a less than awesome fight, and I would prefer to get on to the better one. So I'll take Lins with you actually here. I think Lins' decision is not a bad bet.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Oh, man. This is a good fight. I'm excited about this one. Now is where it gets
the card takes a turn. Is this the beginning, just out of curiosity, I don't know if you can see it, is this the beginning of the prelims? I feel like this should
so,
be.
Yeah. I think this is. The first fight on the prelims, but man, we have Michel Pereira here on a big win streak. He's fighting. Obviously, I should have introduced him, but he's fighting Michael Oleszejczyk. I call him Mikey O. It's easier to say, and Mikey O is one of my boys. Mikey O, he fights like a Polish gangster. He goes in there kind of head bobbing. He's got swagger in there too. He just fights like a gangster in there. Like he's just throwing hooks, and if there's a grappler, he doesn't give a fuck. He's going to get taken down. He's just going to try to take your head off before you can take him down. But Pereira is not a grappler, obviously. He is I don't know what you want to call it, point fighter, Brazilian acrobat fighter sort of a thing. He's crazy. This guy is insane, and he's only 30 years old. It feels like he's been around forever. 29 and 11. You think this guy's going to be like 38. He's only 30. I think in this fight, Pereira early, Mikey O late. That's kind of the blueprint here. It's going to be Pereira. He probably needs to get a finish pretty early here because Mikey O is going to keep coming, and Pereira doesn't do well when people pressure him. When people pressure Pereira, he gets tired really fast. And Mikey O, we saw him get hurt in that Chidi and Jaquani fight. He has the fucking dog in him. I don't know what happens in Poland, but these Polish guys, they've got the dog in them. And Mikey O, he's no exception. He has that dog in him. I think I'm going to go with Mikey O here. I think I'm going to go with Mikey O by a late finish. I think Pereira probably gets tired. Pereira might piece him up early. I really think he wins that first round at a high clip. I think Pereira pieces him up early. I think Pereira tires out, and then Mikey O is going to land a combo on him and send him to the land of shadows and demons. So Mikey O for me. What about you, Tim?
So here's what I'm thinking. First of all, let's see. Hopefully he can make weight. What is this 185? Oh, this is 185. Okay.
He should be fine
here. Yeah. So here's my thinking. And if you watch, he fights differently depending on what kind of card he's on. If he's on a fight night card like last time, he fought very smart. He didn't throw any of his wild stuff that he normally likes to do. But now being on a pay-per-view, this is going to be like when he fought Nico Price and Andre Fiallo.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be all over the place trying to be a showstopper. And I don't think you could play that game with Mikey O. Like you said, he might win the first round. But if it goes to the second and he starts trying to showboat, I could see something similar to when Anderson Silva. Remember Anderson Silva was showboating?
Got his chin checked.
Yeah, I could see that. 100%. I like Mikey out here on this one. I just think it's I think Mikey O carries the power better, to be honest with you.
Yeah, dude. And here's the thing I was thinking about as well is Pereira has been used to having like a size advantage because he at 170 was fucking huge. I mean, the
Yeah.
guy was like if Paulo Costa somehow made 170. The guy was ripped. He was massive. He was tall. He was thick. It was crazy. He's not going to have a huge size advantage here. If you look at the numbers, Mikey O actually has a 1 inch reach advantage. Pereira has a 1 inch height advantage. But I mean, so they're pretty much the same size. And I think Pereira has relied on that size quite a bit. And so when he doesn't have it, I think it's going to go down to who's got the better heart and who's got more power in their hands. And I mean, that all lends itself to Mikey O. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You can lead us off on this one.
All right, so we got Pedro Munhoz versus Kyler Phillips. So, Pedro Munhoz, a little bit older, 37. Most recently, coming off a decision loss to Chito, Marlon Vera. Before that, he's got a nice win over Chris Gutierrez, a no contest with O'Malley, and before that, a loss to Dom Cruz and Jose Aldo. So in his last 5 fights, he's won one of them, right? But the other 4 people that he fought against were all champions, except for Chito, who's actually fighting right now for the strap.
Yeah, he's had a gauntlet, man.
And he's looked good. He looked pretty good versus Chito. That was a little bit closer than I wanted, being a Chito fan. But then you have Kyler Phillips, who he did look good when he fought Marcelo Rojo, and he got him by triangle armbar. But he just went to a decision with Ronnie Barcelos. He dropped a fight to Paiva, who I don't even think's in the UFC anymore.
Blech.
And then he's got a win over a real young Yadong Song and Cameron Else. I think, honestly, Pedro Munhoz is plus money. He's fought the tougher fights. Granted, he's 37 years old. That's the only concern. And he's got a lot of miles. But I still think he is better than Kyler Phillips. So I'm not gonna take anything on this. And this might be indicative of some of the other fights on the card as well. But I'm gonna be rooting for Pedro Munhoz. But I'm not taking this because the age factor scares me. But the experience kind of tells me he could do it. But then you have a younger guy who's 28 years old. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, man. I feel where you're at. It's like a tough fight to bet. It feels, like you'd want to pick Munhoz here. And I'm going to tell you why. I mean, I feel like Munhoz is going to win this fight. And I think there's a clear blueprint to it. Number 1, it's leg kicks early in the fight. I think you're going to shoot some leg kicks off on Kyler Phillips. Kyler Phillips, I mean, he wings around like he's Michael Venom Page out there. The guy is acting like he's Anderson Silva, like flying around doing these, crazy it feels like footwork drills while he's in fights. And I actually really like Kyler Phillips. I think the dude is a beast. But his gas tank is lacking and he's too flashy. Those are the 2 things that we've seen from him. Those are his 2 weaknesses. And Pedro Munhoz is a fucking concrete block. You're not going to knock out Pedro Munhoz. You're not going to submit Pedro Munhoz. And you're probably not going to have your way completely with Pedro Munhoz. We haven't really seen anybody just completely beat the fuck out of him. That fight with Chito was real close. Obviously, Chito is built for 5-round fights. We know that. It was a 3-round fight, so close fight there. I think if Pedro Munhoz chops the legs of Kyler Phillips, drops around early, blah, 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 whatever it is, Kyler Phillips is going to shoot takedowns here. What does Pedro Munhoz have one of the best in the UFC? That nasty arm-in guillotine. Pedro Munhoz, people forget, is a serious BJJ player. Like, dude is legitimate. And when he gets that arm in, on shitty takedown attempts, it goes quick, it goes tight, and he's very good at it. And I think that's what's going to happen here is Kyler Phillips is going to get tired. Kyler Phillips, PED abuser. Sean O'Malley's teammate. We've seen him get popped for steroids. He has a big reach advantage here. He's going to be able to jab Pedro Munhoz. That's the one thing that's concerning. He's going to have a jab. I think he's going to want to go to the wrestling here or there, though, after he gets leg kicked quite a bit. And that's when Munhoz is going to, I think, sub him. I think he's going to completely fucking finish Kyler Phillips probably late second, third round. I think he's gonna sink in that guillotine. It's gonna be slick. He might be down a round. He might even be down 2 rounds. But I don't know. This price tag also just feels a little bit disrespectful to Pedro Munhoz. Like, guy has been in there with the best. He's proven himself to be competitive with those guys. Has wins over a few of them. Sean O'Malley was also not able to do anything against Pedro Munhoz early in their fight, and that's basically who he's fighting again. I mean, they're not the same. Kyler Phillips and Sean O'Malley, obviously not the same, but they have a similar kind of striking technique where they're just flying around, trying to snipe you from the outside. And so I think Munhoz is going to be able to negate that, walk down Phillips, make Phillips uncomfortable, make him shoot a takedown, sink a guillotine. End of story. Pedro Munhoz cashes as a dog. That's kind of my opinion here.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not gonna put anything on there, but I'll be rooting for Pedro.
All right. This is a big one. This is actually a pretty big fight here. I know you're pretty high on Munhoz Gamrot. I'm not as high as you. I had Fiziev against him in that last fight. We had a little coffee bet on that one. But I could start us off pretty short and sweet on this one. This is Munhoz Gamrot versus RDA. RDA is too old. He has too many miles on him. And I think Gamrot pushes a pace on him for 3 rounds and kind of sneaks out a decision here. I think could be a 30-27 where Gamrot just pushes him against the fence, takes him down a few times, lands some significant strikes from the top. RDA gets up, rinse, repeat for 3 rounds. Honestly, I kind of think this will be a boring fight in my opinion, but I think Gamrot takes it. I think he probably does it without much danger at all.
Yeah, so here's what I'm thinking. I was actually on the RDA side when he fought Vicente Luque, just with Luque coming off the long layoff and then, with the brain injury. But then watching that fight, RDA looked like a shell of himself.
Yeah, he did.
So that showed a lot to me of where I think he's at. But then if you look at Gamrot when he fought Fiziev, man, this guy's just built different. You know what I mean? Fiziev tried to leg kick him and broke his own leg. Tore his own ACL because this guy's just made out of steel.
Oh, yeah, that's some bullshit, Tim. That's some bullshit. Fiziev was taking his fucking head off. So,
I honestly, I think this is going to be Gamrot. I think he's just going to, it might be boring. But I think you're going to see a pretty dominant performance from Gamrot. And maybe get a ground and pound victory.
Yeah, I think the price tag is also maybe not. Maybe it might be a little wide because I'm seeing Gamrot's minus 440 on DraftKings. I'd probably put Gamrot like minus 300 if I had to line it myself. But I'm also not gonna put any of my hard-earned money on 39-year-old Rafael Dos Anjos, who has not looked great in his last 3. He lost to Rafael Fiziev, who was a beast and beating the fuck out of Gamrot and was definitely going to win that fight until he tore his own ACL in a freak injury that was not caused by Gamrot, as everyone knows. And then RDA beat Barber, who, I mean, that's a walking CTE. That is just, I don't know what happened to his brain, but something is bad there. Barberina, slurring his words, sort of a deal. Not good, but he's not who he used to be. And then he lost to Luque, like you said. So pretty easy Gamrot pick, I think, for both of us there. You can lead us off on this next one.
All right, so we got Caitlin Sermonara versus Macy Barber. So Barber's on a 5-fight. Well, I don't know. She might be on a little bit longer. Won her last 5 fights. Sermonara just dropped one to Manon. I can never say her. Fiorio.
I think that's
the French.
Fioro, maybe? Fioro?
Yes, it's French. So, who I think she is actually fantastic. I look forward to her actually fighting. But Macy Barber's last fight, when she went against Amanda Ribas, and she absolutely pummeled her. I think that was a turning point for Macy Barber. I think that's what she needed. She seems a little bit hungrier now. So I think this is going to be a quick one for Macy Barber. Not putting any action on it, but I do like Macy Barber, so I'll just be rooting for her. But probably Macy Barber by decision.
Yeah, dude. I'm in the same corner as you. Macy, the future Barber. Which, by the way, do you remember how annoying she was when she came into the UFC at like 21 or 20 or something? It was like, gonna be the youngest champ. And then she got like fraud checked like 5 times.
Yeah.
Not 5 times, obviously. But she's really turned things around. Like, she has really, really flipped the script on kind of how her UFC career was going. Because for a while there, she was throwing punches at air and just was not looking good. I think she was a little scared to get punched in the face. Now she walks through shit like a fucking Terminator. I don't know what happened. I don't know what they put in the water up there in Milwaukee. I know she also trains in Colorado. She's got good cardio. She's got good wrestling. Her striking is coming along really well. I do think she could be a champion here coming soon. 1 year, 2 years. Macy Barber could be up there with a golden strap over her shoulder. And I think she's going to get it done versus Caitlin Chukagian. And there's a few reasons I think so. Number one being, I think Barber can put together a similar game plan that Jessica Andrade put together, which Barber doesn't have quite the power that Andrade has, but I think she could have similar power and similar kind of brawling where she just catches Caitlin Sermonara in kind of a weird spot and puts power on her that she's just not used to. And then the other thing, which is very sad, is Caitlin Chukagian has come out with, she's had some struggles since her last fight, which if we look at on here was a year and 4 months ago. And she's been inactive, personal reasons, but she did have like miscarriages due to something. And I think, she said that was pretty heavy on her mind, which that's really, really sad. But I just don't think that's, a good thing to have going into a UFC fight. Usually extra things in your life that are impacting, you mentally are not going to be good when it comes to a fight, especially against a 25-year-old fucking woman Terminator. Like, I'm talking, I don't know what happened to Macy Barber, but these last few fights, she has looked like a different beast. So I'm taking Barber. I'm taking Barber by knockout. I think she could get this thing done inside the distance, just like Jessica Andrade did. And I think it could be one of those where she puts a stamp on it and gets a title shot after this. I think she could be next in line if she finishes Caitlin Sermonara. I don't know which one. I know there's been both of them kind of thrown around, but yeah, Barber, and I'm taking Barber by knockout here.
All right, I can go with that.
All right, this is another one that I am very, very excited for because we're going to find out exactly who Jailton Almeida is in this fight. He's, what we've seen so far, he's a very, very good, very technical BJJ player. But the issue is we've also seen him, not finish Derek Lewis, who, I mean, anyone who can, wrestle their grandma should be able to finish Derek Lewis on the mat. But Derek Lewis basically said, BJJ is not real. I'm going to lay in this arm triangle while it is fully locked up for 5 straight minutes. And he did that on multiple occasions. He just laid in an arm triangle that Jailton Almeida was squeezing with his entire life on. And Jailton Almeida could not get the finish. That's worrisome here against Curtis Blaydes, who is a absolute tank of a heavyweight fighter. He's 265 pounds. He probably cuts weight to make 265. 6'4", 80-inch reach. Jailton Almeida, 6'3", 79-inch reach. 236 pounds in his last fight. So he's going to be at a almost 30-pound disadvantage likely on fight night here, which is a big deal when it comes to, grappling. When it comes to, can he get him to the ground? Can he get Blaydes on his back? But I think Almeida is the real deal. I think Almeida is going to take him down. I think Almeida is going to sync up a submission of some sort, and I think he's going to make it look easier than he did against Derek Lewis, which I don't know how the hell that makes any sense considering Blaydes is kind of a grappler. But I think Blaydes is overrated as actual fuck, which is a hot take. Blaydes has kind of been everyone's like, oh, next big champion, next blah, 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 blah. I don't think Blaydes is that good. I think Blaydes has a bad chin. I think Blaydes has a bad mentality when it comes to fighting. I like the guy, actually. I just think Almeida is the real deal, and Almeida's kind of like, when you got one guy who's made out of steel and one guy who's made out of fucking wood, I think that's what's going to be like. Almeida's going to run through him, submit him first round, and be next for the title shot after whatever happens at the top of heavyweight here with John Jones and Aspinall and stuff. Oh, I've been rambling. Tim, Blaydes or Almeida?
Blaydes, and I think it's going to be Blaydes pretty easily, to be honest with you.
Ooh, okay, here we go.
All right, so his last fight, he went and tried to trade punches with Sergey Pavlovich. Obviously, that's not a good idea. We know what he does to people. Before that, he's got the freak win over Tom Aspinall, similar to the Gamrot, but this was even shorter. But then he's got the knockout over Christakis. And then he's got the decision win over Biggie Boy. And then he's got a loss to Derek Lewis. So he's dropped 2 in his last 5. Sergey Pavlovich and Derek Lewis. So, being 17-4, you're like, well, I wonder, who else did he lose to? He lost to Francis Ngannou twice. So, those are his losses. Derek Lewis, Pavlovich, right? So Lewis, phenomenal, knockout guy. Pavlovich, same thing, and then Francis Ngannou. So I'm not too worried about him fighting Almeida in the stand-up. Also, Almeida's never fought anybody with the same amount of wrestling credentials as Curtis Blaydes. This isn't Parker Porter. You know what I mean? You're not going to shoot a takedown like you would on Parker Porter to Curtis Blaydes. Nor are you going to shoot a takedown like you would on Biggie Boy or on Derek Lewis. Curtis Blaydes is not going to fall for that shit. So I think it could be Curtis Blaydes actually takes Almeida down and gets him out of there with a ground and pound, or he just straight up knocks him out. He is falling in love with his hands. That's his kryptonite currently. But I could see him getting it done. I don't think Almeida is up to that task yet. The Derek Lewis fight, you get Derek Lewis and you just lay on him. You lay on him, and they both were gassed. Derek Lewis has been in the situation. He's been under the lights. He's been in the fire. I think he's going to be able to get it done. And he's got, like you said, he's going to have another, at least 40 pounds on top of him. So I think if Curtis Blaydes fights the smart fight, he will utilize his wrestling, and that'll put Almeida on his back.
Fair points. I don't disagree with most of what you said.
That's what I'm saying. So he's lost to, like I said, he lost to Pavlovich, Lewis, and twice to Ngannou.
Yeah. I'm not saying that Blaydes is bad. I'm saying I think Almeida is the truth.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we'll see. This is a huge, huge test. Almeida wanted nothing to do with Derek Lewis on the feet, and that was made clear.
Yeah.
So you're not taking Curtis Blaydes down like that. I'll be very surprised if he just takes him down and manhandles him. But I think he's gonna find out real quick. This is not the same as everybody else.
I think he's going to take him down, just like he took down Derek Lewis. Like, I just, for some reason, when I watch Jailton Almeida, he's just a different level of, like, grappler. And Blaydes obviously has a little wrestling, but he's still, like, fat man wrestles. Almeida is, like, floating like a technical middleweight. It's weird, but, yeah, I mean, it's a -110, -110 pick'em. So one of us will be right, one of us will be wrong, but it is a close fight. I agree with you. I agree with the line. I think it could go either way, and I think you're right that Blaydes could knock him out too. On the feet, if this stays on the feet too long, I don't like Almeida's chances either. So yeah, I think this will be kind of like that fight that we see. Someone's gonna get into that top, echelon of the heavyweight with Aspinall, Ciryl Gane, because John Jones is about done. We all know that. So I think it's going to be Aspinall, Gane. One of these two guys maybe will be in that kind of that three-person pool that after Jones retires, one of them's going to be looking to be the undisputed and put a little run together. And yeah, so we'll see. But either way, one of us will be right. That's kind of a plus.
Yeah, and also his little wrestling that you said he has also got him a national championship in college for his little wrestling experience. So,
I know he's a good wrestler. I was kind of being a dick, but I do know that Blaydes is a pretty damn good wrestler, and he's
just wanted to make that just wanted to clarify.
Just wanted to clarify. All right, we got Peter Yan here versus Yadong Song. Lead us off, Tim, and give us the breakdown here.
All right, so we got Peter Yan, who's on a real shitty skid. After that disqualification to Aljo. After that, he got a win over Corey Sandhagen, and then he lost to Aljo, lost to O'Malley, and lost to Merab. I've been going back and forth with this all week. Just for the simple fact that MMA math, a lot of people say it doesn't work. I think it does work. The only fight Yadong Song has dropped in his last 5 was to Corey Sandhagen. And the only win Yan has in his last 5 is over Corey Sandhagen. Song's not going to nut hug Peter like Merab or Aljo. It's not gonna be anything like that. And I honestly think he won the fight against O'Malley. So this is gonna be a stand up, and I think if it comes literally just to a stand up fight, I think this should be a good decision win for Peter Yan. I don't think he's ready to be cast aside as a former champion, and he's going on that nasty skid. His matchups have been absolutely terrible. But I think this is going to be a great bounce back for him, and I am pretty confident here in Peter Yan. In a stand-up fight, I think his boxing is so crisp, so technical. Like I said, he looked good against O'Malley. I thought he won that fight, and he did. I have to rewatch it again, but he either dropped Merab or literally stunned Merab on the feet. So I think it could be a good night for Peter to get back on track.
Yeah, I mean, you took pretty much all the words out of my mouth there. I think Peter Yan, this line to me is fucking insane. I get Peter Yan is on a 3-fight skid. I get it. He's also on a 3-fight skid to like 3 of the best bantamweights in the world, if not the top
But
3.
they're wrestlers. It's a completely different thing. The only stand-up fight was O'Malley, who's fucking 6'5". Sorry for the language. 6'5". You know what I mean? He's an absolute freak. Shouldn't even be in this weight class. It's a classic weight bullying, but it is what it is. So sorry for that little rant, but he won that fight. So it should be, you know, it should be in a situation.
I think that fight with Sean O'Malley was the definition of a close fight. I think it was one of those that either way is fine. I had it scored for Peter Yan, but I don't think it was like a robbery. I thought Peter Yan won, but I don't think it was a robbery. But like with that said, I think this line is fucking nuts. I think Peter Yan is going to beat the daylights out of Yadong Song. I think Peter Yan, we saw against Corey Sandhagen. Corey Sandhagen is a high-level striker. Corey Sandhagen beat Yadong Song because he's a high-level striker. What did Peter Yan do to him? He dismantled Corey Sandhagen. He absolutely dismantled Corey Sandhagen down the stretch. I think he's going to do the exact same here. I think he's going to take, I don't know how long, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, download data, maybe, drop those first minutes, maybe even drop that full first round. And then I think he's going to brutalize Yadong Song. He's going to parry. That's going to be the big thing. Yadong Song, powerful guy. He is muscle bound to fuck. That guy is like a little mini tank. He goes out there. He's got short legs, short arms, and he is going to wing fucking haymakers meant to send you to fucking Ireland. He's trying to knock you out of the cage. But Yan, too smart, too calculated to get his head taken off by anything like that. I think he's going to download data. He's going to start parrying. He's going to start with the low kicks. He's going to throw combos that end with the low kicks. He's going to throw combos, end with a body shot. And then I think it's just going to be 2 rounds, Peter Yan, 29-28, Peter Yan, down the scorecards, easiest fight to score of all time. And I think this -120 Peter Yan that we're seeing on DraftKings, -115 on DraftKings, is going to look silly as fuck. Clown makeup on DraftKings and all of the bookmakers out there for having Peter Yan at -115. Peter Yan, in my opinion, top 2, top 3 bantamweight in the world. Merab Dvalishvili, very, very obvious fucking EPO machine. I don't know what is in that guy's Cheerios, but he's built different. He's up there. Aljo, Peter Yan is better than. I mean, we kind of know that, even though he lost that second fight, sadly. And then Sugar Sean, close fight, whatever. Maybe Sean's better, maybe Peter's better. We don't know. Peter Yan could be the best bantamweight in the fucking world. He's definitely top 3. And Yadong Song is not. So for me, that -120 is getting hammered. And I'm all over Peter Yan this week.
I like it.
Oh, man. And we're getting into another one I'm passionate about right after this.
So this is going to be a good one. This is Gilbert Burns versus Jack Della Maddalena. This is kind of the fight that we wanted, because we originally wanted the Sean Brady versus Jack Della Maddalena fight, especially when Sean Brady was out and they put in Basil Hafez.
Yes.
And he just straight wrestled them the whole time. And you really got to see that little chink in the armor. And then when he fought Kevin Holland, I don't know what was wrong with Kevin Holland. That was a funky fight, but even still, that was a split decision. Now you're going up against Gilbert Burns, who most recently fought Bilal. Try to remember the name Muhammad.
Zinger,
And
Tim.
he's got a win over Masvidal, Neil Magny, which he subbed. He's got the loss to Kamzat, but that was an amazing fight. He looked really good, and then he's got the win over Wonderboy. So when he lost to Muhammad, obviously he did get injured. That's no excuse. He still lost the fight, but people also thought that he won the fight against Chimaev. In my opinion, Chimaev's a whole different beast than Jack Della Maddalena. I think the pressure that Chimaev has is freakish, especially at that time. I think Burns should have no problem with Maddalena. I would be looking for a submission because I think Burns will be on top of him majority of the time. So I do like Burns by submission here, but I also like the money line of him being plus money. That seems very, very odd, considering his last loss was due to an injury, which hampered him tremendously. Obviously, he was only using one arm.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the same side here as you. I think the story of this one kind of can be told. If you look at Jack Della, his stock was rising, like crazy early. He beat Ameev, big time. All of a sudden, this dude's a prospect. He beat Danny Roberts, knocked him out. This dude is a crazy prospect. He beats Randy Brown. This dude is a crazy prospect. I mean, these are good wins. So this dude was like skyrocketing. And then he fights a fella, an absolute unit by the name Basil Hafez. And his trajectory pretty much just got clipped off. Pretty much topped completely. He won a split decision. I didn't really think he won that fight. Hafez exposed the ground game 7 months ago. Interesting. Keep that in mind. 7 months ago, this guy could not wrestle or grapple at fucking all. Now, who's he fighting right now? Present day, 7 months later, who's he fighting? A world champion jiu-jitsu player who has wrestling and can strike. I mean, I don't really see how you can go wrong with a bet on Gilbert Burns' money line, or even Gilbert Burns by sub, plus 350s out there on that. You can even get up to plus 400 on that. I would say Gilbert Burns is going to take this guy down and arm triangle him. And that's going to be my favorite dog bet of this card is going to be Gilbert Burns' money line. And I'm going to have a little bit on that sub. Arm triangle is going to be my pick here. I think he's going to take him down. I think he's going to kind of expose that you can't learn to grapple in 7 months, because we've seen Jack Della posting pictures with Craig Jones. We've heard the age-old tale of, Buddy is learning Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu from one of the best in the world. He's going to be world-class in his next fight. Okay, Gilbert Burns has been grappling. If you see this dude's neck and this dude's back, you can tell that Gilbert Burns has been grappling since he was like 3 months old. The guy's neck is something that I've never seen before. He's got like a Mike Tyson neck.
Did he win in Abu Dhabi, or did he place in Abu Dhabi? Do you know?
I don't know. I really don't know. But yeah, dude, I feel like Burns is gonna choke this dude out, arm triangle him, and make it look easy. I think it's gonna be one of the easier looking fights. He's gonna fraud check Della, and everyone's gonna be yelling about how easy it looked afterwards and be amazed. I think it's gonna shock a lot of people at how bad Jack Della's grappling is.
He did win the World Cup finals in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying. World class player. That's class.
Yeah, that's top of the top.
Absolute world class. And so I just don't see how 7 months of grappling is going to really do anything. I mean, you can take a random dude on the street and send him in Craig Jones's gym for 7 months, and he's still going to be a random dude on the street to Gilbert Burns, who he's going to fucking break his arm in 7 seconds. And I feel like Jack Della is obviously not a random guy from the street, but he's still not going to be able to measure up. Okay. Man, the Bellator showcase. We saw Michael Chandler back in the day get his debut against Dan Hooker, and now we've got Michael Venom Page, who is 21-2, taking on Kevin Holland, who is 25-10. We've got the classic, Bellator guy coming over versus the company man who's never really broken into the top of the division, which is exactly what happened with Chandler and Hooker. Hooker was never top of the division, cream of the crop, never really was. And they gave Chandler Hooker, and he knocked him the fuck out. I don't think Page is going to knock Kevin Holland the fuck out. I really go back and forth on this one, with Page being pretty much 37 years old, Kevin Holland having a great chin, both being long, rangy snipers. I think Michael Page is going to be a little bit busier of a fighter here. Kevin Holland might have... Honestly, man, I don't fucking know on this fight. If I try to give, a strong opinion, I'm going to be kind of talking out of my ass. I think, I don't know why I'm still talking. Tim, give me a kind of an opinion of what you think and why you think it, and I'll let you know if I agree.
So, I mean, MVP he's very flashy. It's tough because he also just lost a fight not that long ago to Mike Perry, the African bare knuckle champ. So, and everybody thought, oh man, Mike Perry, what are you doing? MVP is a phenomenal striker. It's gonna be quick. He's so much bigger. But Mike Perry pieced them up. So Kevin Holland is the same size, pretty much identical body styles. The way for Kevin Holland to win is to get MVP on the ground.
He won't, though.
I know. I mean, does he realize? Does he want to have a chance? If they're on the feet, Page can definitely get clipped. I've seen it. He did look really good against Goiti Yamauchi. That was his last fight in Bellator. He looked really, really good, and he was just hammering leg kicks. It depends on how smart Kevin Holland is. If Kevin Holland fights him like he fought Wonder Boy, he's going to lose. And this is a very, I want to say, similar fight type, where it's going to be all stand-up, and it's almost like a point fighter. So he could get pieced up, but if he closes the distance, right, crushes space, he can get MVP out of there. But he's going to have to take him down and get him on the ground. That's the way he lost to Logan Storley. That is the path of victory. So it all depends, what the game plan is in the Holland camp.
Yeah.
I shouldn't even say that. What his coaches are going to tell him to take him down, but Kevin Holland just does whatever he wants. At some point, you have to realize nobody wants to see you take these fights and then not fight smart and lose. People don't want to see that, and I hope that doesn't happen to Kevin Holland. He's such, a fun fighter to watch, but you can't be doing that. So with that being said, I don't know. I could see MVP by by decision, or MVP by decision.
Okay, so you said something that really made sense to me was comparing it to the Wonder Boy fight. And I think that's kind of what I'm going to latch onto here. Is I think Michael Venom Page has the blueprint from Wonder Boy. I mean, he's a fighter. He's probably watching the fight. He's probably watching tape. That was the blueprint to beat Kevin Holland, because I don't think Kevin Holland is going to try to take him down here. Like you said, he'd be so smart to try to mix in some takedowns, but he's Kevin Holland, and his fight IQ is that of a fucking coconut. I mean, you fucking crack it open, and it's nothing but water in there, because this dude doesn't know. He had Wonder Boy on his back and just got up and then got his fucking shit kicked in. Got his teeth fucking curb stomped after that. After he just decided, oh, Wonder Boy, get back up. World-class karate master, fucking triple black belt karate master, get back up. And then he just got his body absolutely slammed in by his shin 50 times. And then the fight was over. And I think decision is probably a good bet here. Michael Venom Page by decision. It's going to be razor thin, though. But I do think the other thing is Page is long and rangy, and Holland doesn't do well with other long, rangy guys. He's never really had great striking defense. He's just kind of been long and rangy and been able to kind of keep his distance, and I think Page is going to kind of rival him there and probably leg kick him. Like you said, like in that last fight, Page was just pounding leg kicks. I think he can leg kick Holland, and I think Holland's leg can get hurt. So yeah, I'm on board with Page by decision here with you. I think that's a solid pick, and I think again, I mean, it just feels like we're yelling the underdog lore out here today. We're just underdog, fucking underdog, fucking underdog. But Michael Venom Page decision, that's gonna be our pick.
Yeah.
Oh man, big co-main. I'll take the co-main. I'll let you lead us into the main. But we got Dustin the Diamond Poirier coming in at 35 years old, a young spring 35, 1 month and 2 weeks ago, turned 35, versus Benoit, the God of War, Saint Denis, 28 years old, on a fucking ripper. I mean, the guy is 5 straight right now. Matt Frivola, knockout. Thiago Moises, knockout. Ishmael Bonfim, submission. Gabriel Miranda, knockout. Dustin Stolzer, submission. The guy is on a heater. Early this week, I was wanting to be all over Dustin Poirier. The line was crazy. It was plus 190 earlier this week. And I wanted to hammer the money line. As I've thought about it more, my opinion hasn't really changed. It's just kind of altered a little bit. I heard a little bit of a chink in the armor of Dustin Poirier when he was talking in a few interviews. Retirement. I don't know if I have that dog in me. I gotta find it. I gotta find that will to fight. You know what I heard? I heard the fucking sound of money. I smelled the money. The guy is a made man now, and not in the Sopranos sense. He is just a dude who has a hot sauce company, a dude who is a legend down in the South, a dude who has a job in any mixed martial arts gym for the rest of his life, a dude who has enough money in his bank account thanks to the man, Conor McGregor, that this guy doesn't need to fight anymore. And I don't like backing those guys, but this price is so disrespectful. I mean, him by knockout being plus 350 when Saint Denis, his striking defense is his chin. I mean, his entire striking defense is punch me on the chin and I'm not going to fall down, and then I'm going to punch you on the chin and you're going to bitch out and fall down. There's a reason he's called Dustin the Diamond Poirier. He has a chin, he takes them, and he sends them back. And I feel like I might not be able to take the big money line play I wanted to at that plus 170 to plus 190 range, but I'm going to have some on that knockout plus 350. A little bit of Dustin Poirier to catch that chin, a little bit of that Dustin Poirier to put BSD away. I'm leaning more towards BSD getting this win here after hearing Poirier talk like that. It's the same thing as McGregor. Once McGregor got all the money, once McGregor was towing around the world on a yacht, he doesn't have the will to fight. And I don't blame him. I wouldn't either. I don't have the will to fight right now, and I'm not a fucking millionaire, a billionaire. They're not billionaires, but, large ass millionaires. So, I mean, for them to even have the will to fight in the first place is pretty cool. But then when you're a multimillionaire, I mean, most people are willing to ride off into the sunset and not get punched in the face anymore after they get that amount of money. So I'm starting to see the writing on the wall that Poirier might possibly retire or be one fight out from retirement here. I do think the price is disrespectful, so I'll have a little bit on that Poirier knockout. But this is a dicey one. I think it just all depends on where Poirier is, and there's no way we're going to know where he's at until he's in there. But the Poirier I know is going to take some to give some, and Benoit's chin is out there to be cracked. Poirier can put down anybody, so that plus 350, that feels like an auto bet. But like I said, it's not going to be a big bet on the money line like I was thinking earlier.
Yeah, so I agree with you with half of it. With the interviews, he's talking, and his daughter's not going to be there. He's not having his kids there. Saint Denis is the young, hungry lion. So I agree with you on that. The putting money on him to finish Saint Denis, I don't agree with. He's never been finished. His only loss was a decision loss at short notice, blown up 170 weight class. So in my eyes, he is 13-0. Now, I think the problem is with DP, we're kind of we have a little bit of smoke and mirrors. Everybody likes Dustin Poirier, that fight with Dan Hooker, I think, took a lot out of him. Came back, fought Conor, who hadn't fought in forever, stopped him. All right, that's fine. Fought Conor again, and Conor broke his leg. Okay. To me, those aren't really good wins because he's not fighting an active guy. The win over Dan Hooker was great. That was a war, but that definitely took time off of him. You get back in there with a guy that is winning and fighting and training, and he gets into Oliveira, and then Oliveira gets him out of there with a submission. He gets a win over Michael Chandler. I mean, Chandler's a company guy. He's got some power. But, I mean, Chandler's knocking out who? Tony Ferguson and Dan Hooker. You know what I mean? So I get it, but that's his, you know what I mean? Those are his only two wins. Dan Hooker and Tony Ferguson are Chandler's only wins. Like, I don't think people understand that. A completely skeleton Tony Ferguson and Dan Hooker, who was in an absolute war with Poirier. And that was kind of like the lights were too bright for Dan Hooker. But then you fight another guy. You try and string them together, and you fight a Justin Gaethje, who's out there doing everything he can. And he gets head kick KO'd. That was nasty. Here's the deal. It's coming to an end, and I feel like this is going to be a violent end. I don't know if this is going to be his last fight, or if he's going to maybe move up a weight class. But I think he's going to get finished. I think he's going to get subbed, because we've seen him get subbed by Oliveira. Now, I'm not saying Saint Denis grappling is the same as Oliveira, right? I'm not saying that. Or if his power is the same as Gaethje. But when you take a head kick like that, that completely changes everything. Granted, he's taken a lot of time off, but it's kind of the changing of the guard, man. You gotta understand that these younger guys are are going to be taking that spot. Think of a Dustin Poirier when he was 28, 7 years ago.
Yeah.
It's just that cycle. So I think Poirier's in a lot of trouble here. I don't want to say he's in over his head. He's been fighting the top guys, but he's taken a lot. So he's going to be the smaller guy in here, and I don't think it's gonna pan out well for him. So I'm on Saint Denis by finish.
Interesting. Yeah, I think it just really comes down to, is Saint Denis of the level of Charles Oliveira and Justin Gaethje, because those are the two guys who have finished, Dustin Poirier. Those are the two guys who have beaten Dustin Poirier recently. If he is, I mean, he's gonna be a terror to deal with when he gets to Islam Makhachev, when he gets to the Charles Oliveira's of the world. I just personally am not fully convinced of BSD's striking defense yet. So that's why I'm taking Poirier by knockout. And this being 5 rounds, I don't think this goes 5 rounds in any case. I mean, I would put my life that someone's getting finished within 5 rounds here. There's no fucking shot that someone is not getting fucking pummeled within probably 3. Within 3, Benoit Saint Denis puts the craziest pace from the beginning of round 1. Dustin Poirier is, kill or be killed. He's going to go in there and he's going to swing at your chin, and you're going to have opportunities to swing at his chin, and that's that. Same with Saint Denis. This thing is not going 3, let alone 5. I'll take Dustin Poirier by knockout. You'll take Benoit Saint Denis by finish. Yeah, we're going to disagree there, but I do agree with a lot of your points, and I do see the Benoit side.
Now, here's the thing, too, though. I mean, look what happened when Charles fought him. You don't have to say he's on the same level, but Charles had him on his back foot. And once he got on his back foot, he completely wilted.
Yeah, he gassed. He gassed bad.
Absolutely wilted. And now you're going against a guy that is going to step on the gas. He's got nothing to lose here. If he loses to Dustin Poirier, he lost to Dustin Poirier.
Yeah. He's literally he's swinging up, so it doesn't fucking matter what he does.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, I 100% agree with you there, and that's why I'm not touching that Dustin Poirier money line. I'm just gonna take that flyer on the knockout, and then outside of that, I'm just gonna watch this one and be a fan, because this is honestly better than the main event in my opinion. Much better.
Let's not get crazy.
I think it is. I think this fight is going to be much more violent. The main event, I feel like, is going to be a little bit lackluster, but we are, there. So lead us in here, Tim.
All right, so we got Sean O'Malley versus Marlon Chito Vera. This is honestly surprising that the odds are what they are. With it being O'Malley a pretty good sized favorite over Chito, who Chito already has a win over O'Malley. And I know people are saying, oh, look, he leg kicked him and he hit him in the nerve and he couldn't move his foot. Yeah, okay. Well, that's because Chito was throwing the leg kicks. And then when Chito got on top of him, he knocked O'Malley out. And he was definitely, if you rewatch that, some of those elbows that he threw, O'Malley was out for at least a second. Chito is the toughest fighter that I think Sean has fought. I already think that Sean lost to Peter Yan. Aljamain, I think he just had the great game plan to keep him on the outside, and once he makes a mistake, he'll clip him, and that's exactly what happened. But before that, so O'Malley's first real test, in my opinion, was Peter Yan, right? And I think he lost that fight. And then he got the chance to fight Aljo, and that was the grappler versus striker. Perfect setup. That was almost exactly like how the Yan Aljo first fight I thought was going to end up being. And Sean got him out of there a lot quicker than I anticipated. But if you look, he's got a loss or a win over Paiva, Chris Mutino. Remember Chris Mutino, that kid they found on the side of the road?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, they found that kid on the side of the road. Thomas Almeida, Eddie Wineland. Remember Eddie Wineland when he was 55 fighting Sean O'Malley? and Jose Alberto Quinones, right? Remember that one? Oh, wow. And then he's got a loss in there to Chito. Elbows from guard. First round. Chito is a completely different animal, right? And I know, Chito just lost. Why is he in there? Because he had a great win over Pedro Munhoz. It was a close fight, but it doesn't make a difference. He's fighting Pedro Munhoz. And then he's got a loss to Corey Sandhagen. Okay, well, Chito needs to step on the gas and needs to step on the gas fast. But this is the one time where it might actually work out for him. Before that, he's got a win over Dominic Cruz. He's got a win over Rob Font. He's got a win over Frankie Edgar. He's not fighting guys that they just fucking found at the 7-Eleven or behind the Walmart parking lot that say, this kid's got colored hair. Let's throw him in there with another guy with colored hair. And I was on the Sean hype train until he lost to Chito, and he would not acknowledge that Chito won that fight. It says a lot. Just admit that, I lost, hopefully we can run it back and we'll get it. That's not the route he went. I think Chito has more experience. I think Chito trains much more serious. I think he is a more complete fighter. Peter Yan dropped O'Malley. I think Chito can as well. I think if Chito gets him to the ground, the pressure, I don't think Sean can really handle the pressure. I'm curious to see if Chito can put him on his back foot. If Chito doesn't start in round one, I think he's going to have a lot of catching up to do because Sean will get those early rounds just from point fighting. But I'm curious to see what happens to Sean after 3. Yeah. If Chito still works, if it still gets there, if it's anything like the Yan O'Malley fight and it goes to round 4, I'm going to hammer Chito live all day or all night. Because Chito can do it. Chito paces himself. So that's what I'm saying. It's going to work out. It's a double-edged sword. Either he paces himself and he can go the 5 rounds and get a finish, or it goes 5 rounds. He dropped 3 and won the last 2 but couldn't get the finish. So it's going to be a funky situation, but Chito has already beaten Sean. Chito's going to go after those legs again. And he's going to get in there and make it nasty for Sean. I think they fast-tracked Sean. And now this is going to be another real hard test. And I think it's going to be more of a mental test for Sean, to be honest with you. Coming face-to-face with, hey, I already lost to this guy. What do I got to do? I'm on Chito. I'm a big Chito fan, so I should probably put that out there. But I gotta put some on Chito, especially at plus money.
Yeah, dude. Oh man, what a fucking fight this is. Just from a breaking it down perspective, more than anything. I mean, close fight. Odds are kind of wild, in my opinion. Like you said, we've seen Chito beat Sugar Sean O'Malley Sean O'Malley is undeniably a great striker, though. That's one thing, he does have a very, very elite striking game. It's just Chito can weather that. Chito can keep moving forward. Chito's got 5 rounds. In fact, Chito's going to get better in 3, 4, 5. Sean, we haven't seen it. Sean, we've seen him gas out in 3. It makes me worried for Sean. It makes me worried if this gets extended. I think Sean's going to have success in rounds 1 and 2. And I think Chito could put him away in 3, 4, 5. And Chito by knockout plus 500. I'm happy to take a sprinkle on that. I'm happy to take a little sprinkle on Chito. And I'm also happy to watch for Chito live. A little bit of Chito after round 1 or 2, you might get plus 500 on money line. You might get plus 600 if he's down 2. You might get plus 800 if he's down 2. You never know what you're going to get live. I just think Sean is going to come into this thinking he's going to dog walk Chito early. Chito's going to take it, eat it on the chin, keep coming forward. And I don't know where Sean's mindset's going to be when he's tired in round 4 of a championship fight and he has a guy who's getting better walking him down. It's my biggest issue here with Sean O'Malley. I just don't know what I'm going to get in that situation because we have not seen it. We have not seen it. We saw him very, very tired in round 3 against Peter Yan. Marlon Vera can take him to some dark fucking places in round 3, 4, 5. Dark fucking places. He can drown Sean O'Malley once we get past the end of the second. So I'm going to take a flyer on Marlon Chito Vera by knockout plus 500. And I'm going to look for that live entry. I'm a much bigger Sugar fan than you. You're not a big Sugar fan. I like him. I think his character is kind of stupid, but I don't mind it. I get a little bit of enjoyment out of it here or there. I'm a fan of his game, though. I think that knockout of Aljamain was clinical. I think it was, something special. It reminded me of Poirier. I do like Sugar's striking a lot. I'm not really one to think that this guy is going to be able to stay at 135 for very long. I think he's cutting too much weight, and I also think that impacts his gas tank. There's kind of a flip side. USADA is gone. And how much is that going to impact it, with USADA being completely out of there? Is he going to be able to have a little extra juice to be able to go 5? Because when he fought Peter Yan, he couldn't have a little extra juice. But now USADA's not up his ass. There's a lot of moving parts here, but the price on Chito is right. The price feels good. So Chito by knockout for me and new, I guess, is what both of us are going here.
Yeah, and you also got to remember, with Chito having that fight with Corey Sandhagen, that 25 minutes was extremely valuable because that is the exact same frame as Sean. It's a bigger guy, bigger reach. Actually, I don't know. Their reaches are pretty much the same, but it's that bigger, taller, lankier guy. So I think Chito has the advantage of fighting that body type, that, you know what I mean, that physical body type, and then the stand up with Sandhagen as well, and then the fact that he's already got a win, and it's not just a decision win; it's classified as a knockout win. Yeah. Go back and watch those elbows. Sean was out. They couldn't stop that fight soon enough because Sean would have lost probably a good 2-3 years if they let Chito keep throwing those elbows. So it's it's almost criminal having Chito as big of a dog as he is.
Yeah, I'm there with you, man. I 100% agree. All right, does that seal us off?
It does, and I gotta be honest with you. Soak this card in, because next week, oh baby, um, it's
Shitstorm.
gonna it's gonna be, yeah, it's not gonna be nearly as good as last week's card, and that's scary.
Yeah, dude,
So
that's how you know it's gonna be rough is when it doesn't even compare to Shamil Gaziev headlining.
yeah, yeah. So um, we shall see, but yeah, I'm really pumped for this. So
Hell yeah, dude, we're gonna have to watch this one because this is one of those cards where it's one of those that's best of the year. You might get one more card that rivals it, which we're about to see in 300, but I don't know if there's gonna be a card as good as this after 300. You know?
um, the year is still young. We got International Fight Week. We have the Sphere. So we got a Connor card coming up. Hopefully, maybe two this year. So we'll see.
Please, Connor. I would love that, man. If we got to see Connor Chandler.
I want to see. You know what? They should just make one more fight, and it just be Connor Diaz at the Sphere, Mexican Independence Week, and that's it. Ride them off into the sunset, both of them, because no matter who wins, and especially me being a huge Connor guy, if he lost that trilogy to Nate, and then they both kind of just ride off into the sunset, that would be amazing for both of those guys, because I like Nate as well.
Yeah, dude. I'm how fucking good would that be?
It'd be great. So,
Be insane. I would love that as well.
but
Please,
yeah,
Dana. Please give it to
yeah,
us.
yeah, give us something. So,
Yeah. All right. Well, it was good. Thanks for anyone listening. And Tim, we'll see you next week.
thank you, boss.